Welcome back. This is brought to you by REDX. I'm Tristan, your host. I've got my friend Monica. What's up, Monica?
You know, I am so excited about being here for the past almost 2 years. I've been teaching a lead conversion boot camp, which has been absolutely amazing. And this came about because we have a lot of lead generation platforms at Berkshire Hathaway. And up till
Mhm.
2 years ago, we really were not giving the agents a thorough training with lead generation and lead conversion.
Okay.
And it's tough. It's a tough thing for agents to get on the phone, cold call, convert, and especially be comfortable doing it.
Why do
So
you
my
why do you think that is from what you've been teaching? Because I'm assuming as you're doing this boot camp and the market is shifting, people are a little worried, but also they're wondering what's the approach we should take. Do you take the typical approach that we hear most often out there, which is business, 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 or do you go more on the authentic route? What has your approach been?
we definitely go more of the much more 100% on the authentic route. And Tristan, as you have said many times, this is a relational business, not a transactional business. And yes, we definitely go that route. For the past year, we've been talking about how to be legendary. What do you have to do to be a legendary agent?
Oh, I
And
like that.
I asked this question many times in class. And in order to be legendary, you have to be memorable. How do we go
Mm,
about being memorable? Very, very important. What are
I
the
love
steps
that.
we have to take to be legendary and memorable? And also, how do we develop the confidence? I have new agents. I have veteran agents who have 20 or 30 years, and they come to the class because they really don't feel comfortable, with cold calling. Like, what do I say? What do I do? What are the right questions? How do I follow up? So the boot camp really, the most important thing is developing that confidence. The agents really need to develop that confidence in order to convert successfully. And what we have done is the boot camp is small. It's no more than 15 agents in one
Okay.
of our offices. So within a day or two, everyone is comfortable with each other. We have 20 offices with Berkshire Hathaway Florida Properties Group. And within a very few days, everyone is like family. We are there to grow together, to learn together. I think a lot of the agents are frightened, to say anything at all. They don't want to think they're being judged. Well, we don't have that. There's no such thing. We're here to grow and learn. And by the end of the week, we have agents that are confident. Now, at Berkshire Hathaway, you cannot get any leads from corporate until you've gone through this boot camp. So you have to come for 5 days. And what we've done is made it a lot of fun. We have
I
an
like
awful lot
it.
of fun with it.
So tell me where you typically start, because you said a few things here, and some people that come into your boot camp or any let's just say any course or training, they come in and they don't necessarily have the same level of confidence that's needed to get started. So part of your work, I'm assuming, is building up that confidence and getting them to the state that they would agree with you that they need to be legendary, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to be legendary. I just want to do my job. But they don't understand that if you want a long lasting career in this business, you build relationships that are legendary. So I love that. How do you approach that?
Well, at first, we have a round table and we go around the room and we see, I ask the agents, tell me, are you analytical? Are you emotional? Are you more touchy feely? We go around the room because everyone has a different personality and a different way of approaching leads. But the whole thing is, after the first 2 days, it's all, most of the boot camp is role play. And we have a lot of fun with that role play. We go into all different types of scenarios. Also, because we have so many new agents, some of them have not yet had a transaction. So I interweave the basics around lead generation. So we go through the first day or two, the moving parts of the transaction. We go through contracts, and we go through that quickly, so at least everyone has a basic understanding.
I like that. Okay, that's good. So now you get to the confidence that at least they know they need to be at, right? So at least they're aware. What happens next? Because a lot of the success that I've seen in trainings, and I'm assuming in your boot camp, require action. Like once they've identified where they kind of fit, what happens next? What type of action should they be taking?
For 5 days.
Your audio just died out there.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
There it is. There we go.
Okay. I can't move from here. Okay.
I'm
sorry. I'm going to say right here.
Okay.
We go directly into role play. Okay. So we start with very simple role play, and then we start making it very, very real. We don't live in a fairy tale. We have objections. We have to think out of the box. We do an awful lot of role play. And as the days progress, I present scenarios that are more difficult. On the third day is when we have all the fun, because corporate will supply me with dead leads that other agents have not been able to convert. So we go into a room with a whole bunch of phones, and they start making calls. And they start converting leads on their own. Now, I will circle the room. If anyone needs my help or assistance, of course, I'm there. But after we've had 2 days of role playing, then they sit down and make those real calls. And you know what? It isn't nearly as bad as they think it will be. And they develop that confidence from doing it on their own. So we do that for a couple of hours each day. And, once they're finished, we go back, we discuss it. Could we have done this better? And everyone's very interactive and very excited. And since we have a very diverse class with new agents and veteran agents, everyone has something to contribute. And we all learn. And in fact, something else that we do, we go through a whole transaction, starting with converting the lead, making the offer. We go through the whole transaction until closing. And we have an awful lot of fun with that as well.
I like that. And how do you keep agents accountable? Because as we're shifting into a more challenging market than what we're used to for getting business,
certainly,
you're going to find that more agents are going to fall out of real estate only because it's not as easy, right? So how do you keep your agents accountable to make sure that they perform the actions necessary to keep going?
Well, first of all, I have a weekly meeting now. I have a weekly meeting with my team, and I hold them accountable. We have a virtual meeting every week because they do get leads. They get leads from me. So yes, I do hold them accountable. They have to be held accountable because if you're not going to produce, you're not going to stay on the team. Now, if someone needs help with coaching, I am there to coach them. I'm there to encourage them. I'm there to cheer them on. So I am there for them. And with boot camp, also, agents cannot receive leads until they've gone through that boot camp and they have successfully completed it.
Can you take me through what's included in the boot camp so that people listening in can understand what they need to be doing? Like, what does that boot camp involve?
Well, the boot camp is really based, it's a very, very attractive setting with no more than 15 agents. Okay. I'm sorry. Am I still there?
No, okay. That's okay. When you move over to the side, then I lose you.
Um, and the role play. The role play is the start of making agents. And I've had agents come into the boot camp saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do the role play. And I say, you can do the role play. You have to get out of your comfort. You have to get out of your comfort zone. I know it's difficult, but let's give it a try. I've had agents who cried that they can't do it.
And why do you think that is? Is it because
it's a fear? It's definitely a fear of, let's say, performing, in front of other agents. They feel they're going to be judged. They feel they're not going to do a good job. But, day by day, little by little, all of a sudden, and after making those calls from our corporate leads, all of a sudden, agents get very comfortable. Hey, this isn't so bad. And after they convert their first dead lead, wow, that's amazing. I can do this. And that's really what it takes. It really does take.
And for any market, where do you suggest people generally start if you can't really identify what their strengths are? Where would you say that they should start? Is it their database, their phone, door knocking, cold calling, social media? What does that look like?
I have to tell you that you have a video that I introduce to every boot camp. And you know what video that is? And it's so simple but brilliant. Is, go through your phone, okay? Invite someone for coffee, someone you haven't seen in a while, and you do a video about that, which is absolutely amazing.
Oh, you're right. I haven't done that for a while. You're right.
And it's proven to be very, very successful with the agents. It's very easy. It's very simple, yet brilliant. It really is. So I show that video to every class, and it's, that's an aha moment. Yeah, I can do that. That's something that I can do. And the agents have had a lot of success with that. I had an agent a couple of years ago, and he was a very serious young man. And he wore a suit, and he was into coaching, and he was very, very serious. But yet he wasn't converting. And I couldn't understand why. So I said, let's role play. He was so uptight and so robotic, and his tie was on so tightly, and his young man, 28, 30 years old. So I said, take off the tie, take off the jacket. And over the years, he's become very successful. And I said, what has made you so successful? He said, I treat my prospective leads like long lost friends. And I've learned to do that. He said, every time I get on the phone and I feel a little nervous, I treat them like long lost friends. And now he's a top producer. This went back 4 or 5 years ago, and he is still on my team, and he's a top producer. That's a very good way of thinking of it. If someone is frightened to get on the phone and to call, they're long lost friends.
I like that. I like that a lot. And let's extend that to something we can all do. Like you brought it up, and just simply say who's on your phone that you can connect with in person at coffee, right?
Yes.
And what would you recommend that look like if that's what we're starting with, so we don't have as much fear going deeper into this? And for those of you listening in, all of you can do this at every level, because we have our team do this as well. So Monica, where would you start with this for both newer and veteran agents?
You can go home and role play, with your family, significant other, partner, friend. Role play with the agents in your office. I know we have so much support. If someone is having difficulty, they role play with me. So I would begin by calling my sphere. Hey, you know what? Let's get together. We haven't seen each other in a while. Would love to chat with you. Okay, that's still a conversion. That's still a conversion. So I would start with something that's very familiar, that wouldn't cause me to be nervous. So again, Tristan, like you said, open up your phone because you know you've got to do it. Start with the A's, go down to the Z's. Hey, and invite 2, 4, 5 people a week to coffee or tea. And that should really, really help. Now, again, we have relocation, we've got City, we've got Rocket, we've got a whole bunch of lead generation platforms, at Berkshire Hathaway. But I have to tell you, these dead leads that we get from corporate are a tremendous, tremendous help as far
So
as
tell me about those dead leads. Why are they dead? And how do we, let's say I'm an agent on your team. Why are they dead? And how would I go about contacting them?
Okay. They're dead because previous to my starting this boot camp, we weren't really giving a thorough training as far as how to convert them. So the company has kept all of these leads. So it's part of the boot camp on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th day that we give out these leads, and everyone, we certainly don't all sit together. Everyone has a place to sit with their own phone, and some people are more comfortable doing that. That's fine, and they start calling. Now, what if someone says, I just bought a home? What are you going to say? Where can you provide the value? You ask them all the right questions and they say, well, something, thank you, but I bought a home last week. Where can you provide value? We had an agent who spoke to a dead lead, and the lead started crying on the phone. The agent said, what's wrong? Why are you crying? I'm from out of state. I don't know any contractors. I'm just besides myself. I hate my home. I don't know what to do. So what did the agent say? Please don't cry. Don't get upset. I have a whole list of contractors from you. Let me meet you at your home. And she just wanted to come from a place of contribution. She felt badly. So she went over to that person's home, sat her down, gave her a list of contractors that she needed. And when you come from a place of contribution, good things happen. Okay. So she received a whole bunch of referrals. When you talk to people and come from that place, good things always happen.
Very true. Very true. And I think that's where we go back to what you said at the beginning, which is we must be memorable in order to be legendary. I love that.
Now, how cool is it when you first in real estate, okay, and you list your first home or you have your first buyer, only for them to come back 5, 6, 7, 10 years later saying, something, you were absolutely amazing. I wouldn't ask anyone else to help you. That for me is being legendary. But again, in order to be legendary, you've got to be memorable. And how do we go about being memorable? To serve our customers' best interest. And it's not always in their best interest that we sell them a home or that we list their home.
Very true. Very true.
We have to do the right thing always. So that is how we become legendary. That is certainly how we become memorable.
I like that. I like that a lot. So here's one thing that I'll add to it, and you do this very well. You want to have a real conversation with people and listen in, because the moment that we convert this to just a business call, if that person who cried to your agent, he would have probably, or she would have probably, and whatever it was, she would have been like, oh, great. And try to get off the phone as fast as possible just to go on to the next one.
Yes.
Because what happens is when we treat all of these people like they're not people, but they're just dollar signs, and it's like, next, next, next. What happens is you lose that part of the relationship, right?
And again, as you have said so many times, and I have listened to you, we have to understand that this is a relational business. Once we treat it as transactional, we're dead in the water. We really are. And, in fact, what I do teach is if you call this dead lead and, they've already bought a home or at the moment they don't need your services, engage them in a conversation. Hey, how do you love your new home? How do you like the neighborhood? How are things going? How are your kids doing? What activities are they doing in the new neighborhood? And you get into a conversation. Now, at the end of that conversation, we can ask, if any of your friends or family need real estate services, I hope you will consider me. May I send you my card? We always ask permission. And for the most part,
Mm,
you can engage in that conversation. You will get referrals.
I like that. And look,
You know,
that's how we've been building our business for the last 18 years. And from door
absolutely.
knocking to online lead generation, we treat everybody like it's a relationship because you never know who's going to give you the business. It's so
I
true.
had a call right before we went on from a client that I sold a home to 8 years ago. And she called me. She said, Monica, I don't want to bother you. I said, hey, how are you doing? How's the family? What's going on? And she was having, she just bought a new home and she was having an issue with title. So
Hmm.
she said, you're the first person I'm calling. Can you help me? Well, of course I can help you. But here's the thing, I was delighted that I was the first person that she thought of because we have, and after 8 or 10 years, we have a relationship.
Mm,
It, it's
that's the
so
key.
it's so very, very important. Another thing that I have to tell you that has helped us. 2 years ago, I was on a mastermind with Zillow.
Hmm.
And the one thing I took away, and this was, a lead gen conversation. There was a young broker on this mastermind, and he said, listen, if you don't do video, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So one
Okay.
of the assignments that all the agents must present before the last day of class is that they have to do a 1 minute video introducing themselves to their prospective leads, their customers.
Okay.
Okay, introducing themselves. So we started doing that, and you know what? The
Tell me.
leads were so delighted to get those videos to see, first of all, what do these agents look like? Who are
Makes
they?
sense.
You know, and our conversion rate started going through the roof with these videos. So this is an absolute must. And I stress this. You can have the best tone, the best voice in the world, but you know something? We're visual. We like to see who we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's
And
so
these
true.
videos, and it's a must. And in fact, I insist upon this with my team. I insist upon this in the boot camp because it has proven to actually shatter the conversion rate.
I love that. That is such a great idea on dead leads and on newer leads and everything in between.
Absolutely. You know something with the dead leads? I had an agent who had some dead leads. They were elderly
Hmm.
and they were really frightened. And she
Hmm.
sent them a video, a very warm, very nice video. In
Okay.
fact, they were so delighted that they said, you know something, we didn't know who you were. And for all the people that were calling us, we had no idea, who we were dealing with. You were the only person that sent us a video. You're our agent.
Wow.
They were elderly. They wanted to know who they were dealing with. A voice on the phone was not going to do it for them. Anyone can be a voice on the phone, no matter how great your voice is. And I'm all about voice and tone. But
Got it.
these videos were great.
I love that.
And yeah, no, it's got to be done. And also, agents should be going out there supporting local businesses. Hey,
Mm,
it's so important. And even if you do a video that has nothing to do with real estate, even better.
that's
Not
true. I
everything
love
we
that.
talk about, talk about your passions, your hobbies, what you're doing. Hey, a great restaurant in St. Pete, help out a local business owner. There's so many things that we can do with video.
That's true. That's so true, Monica. All right, Monica, if people want to get a hold of you, where do they find you? Online
Okay.
or email or
They
where?
can, I will give my telephone number. If anyone would like to find out about this program, I am delighted to help you with that. We'll be very, very happy to help. Phone number 813-956-5621. Email msmith@bhhsflpg.net. And Tristan, one more thing, because I know we were talking about REDX, and they have a tool that I think is so cool, no one else does. And you've also spoken about this.
Mhm.
At REDX, the agents will role play with you.
Oh, yes. I love that.
I think that is such a cool tool. And I
That is.
remember talking about this, that, it could be a beginner scenario, or it could be an advanced scenario. And I was talking to someone at REDX today, and it is definitely very, very cool. No one else does that.
Nobody else. And I love it because all my new agents, I'm like, okay, here we go. We're going to test this out. And you're going to try it on the hardest one your first time.
That is very, very cool too. I really would suggest that any brokerages that want to give out leads, please don't do that without having training, for your agents. It is a waste of time. It's a waste of money. You've got to train agents and train
Very
them,
true.
well.
Yeah, very true. Very well said. And great job on doing this whole boot camp, Monica. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you.
Okay.
I put up your phone number and your email address right there in the chat if anybody wants to reach out. There you go. Monica, and what do you cover? What areas? So just in case anybody has a referral for you.
Central Florida. So
Mhm.
Pasco, Hillsborough, Pinellas counties. We also cover Lakeland, Orlando. So Central Florida, we cover Central.
Wow. That's a nice big area. I
It
like
is a
that.
nice area, yes, very much so. And Tristan, it's so great seeing you after so many years.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. Great seeing you.
Thank you so very, very much for inviting me. And if I can help anyone out there, please feel free to call me.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Monica. Have an awesome day. Thank
Thank
you, everybody,
you.
for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Take care.